Yeah, okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like to bring the regular meeting of our City Council to order. We would start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like Vice Mayor and Council Barnett to lead us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. I pledge allegiance to the flag,
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which
it stands,
one
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all. Thank you. I would like to ask Ms. Rebecca Barr for our roll call, please.
Councilmember Felder.
Present.
Councilmember Lowe. Here. Councilmember Agrimonti. Here. Vice Mayor Barnett.
Here.
Mayor Dean.
Here.
Thank you. The motion carries. Thank you. Everyone's present.
Right.
Myself.
Yeah. According to our special meeting that is January 6th, all our
recording in progress.
Commission meeting will be conducted virtually. So it will continue until further notice. So that we can participate out of the meeting through the regular cable TV, the channel 27. The best way is you can go to our agenda, click on the highlight Zoom link. You can get it there. You can raise your hand, make your public comments. Or if you don't have any smartphone or the PCs, also you are able to participate with another meeting. You can, using the phone, dial 669-900-9128. And also press the star and the 9. That means raise your hand. You can speak out. Everything is available for you to participate on the local city council meeting. Thank you so much. Next one, I would like to report the closed session today, 4 o'clock. All of the 5 council members get together, have the closed session. This is a result of our closed session. Susan Casey will be the acting city manager. Next one is approval of the agenda. I'd like to ask our council members or the staff, do you have any changes for our today's agenda? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
May I make a brief statement before we move on with the meeting?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm addressing my fellow city council members, our city staff, and the valued members of our community. Last night, I made a very serious mistake, which led to uncharacteristic behavior that I deeply regret. After leaving an event, I misjudged my level of intoxication and got behind the wheel of my car. I was pulled over and arrested for driving under the influence, and rightfully so. I'm sorry. I am very thankful that no one was injured, but I understand that my conduct carries with it many appropriate consequences. This serious lapse in judgment put our community at risk. As most of you know, this town means everything to me, and I'm sorry to have let us down, and I will not make this mistake again. My actions are inexcusable, and I can assure you that no one is more disappointed than myself. City council members should and must be held to a higher standard, a standard I fell far short of last night. I humbly ask for forgiveness and will work tirelessly to earn back your trust. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor and Councilor Barnett. Next item, I would like to see if anything to change for our today's agenda. I want to approve today's agenda.
Mayor Dean?
Members and the staff, please. All right. Oh, Casey, please. Yeah.
Hi, Mayor, I would just like to say something before I ask for an item to be moved, if possible.
Sure.
I just wanted to say, Mayor Ding and City Council members, I'm extremely honored to serve the City Council and the residents of Sonoma as the acting city manager. I feel so lucky to be a part of this small but conscientious, dedicated, and civic-minded team. Sonoma is a truly unique and wonderful community, and I look forward to assisting the council and staff in moving forward during this transition.
Thank you, Susan Casey.
And then I also wanted to ask for an item to be moved, if possible, 6.2. We'd like to move that to the next regular council meeting to allow us to gather more information about the item before it's presented to council.
That's great.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make that motion that we move item 6.2 to a subsequent meeting.
Good. Good. Yeah. Also, I agree. Do you have any more changes for our tonight's agenda? David Stoller, Mr. Stoller, you have something to say?
No, sorry, Mr. Mayor. Did I raise my hand inadvertently?
Oh, that's fine. I just say, all right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would like to.
Sorry, I was trying to point to Sue. She had her hand up, and then she went like this.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I would like to. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
So is it too early to ask? I wanted to pull 4.2.
Right now it's too early.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Just the
Sure.
And the next one, I would like to open to public. See any comments from the public?
We want to do a motion on the approval of the agenda, Mayor
Yes.
Ding?
Yeah.
I move
As
approval of
amended.
the agenda with
did
with the
second.
changes made to pull item 6.2.
And I did a second.
Roll call, please.
Well, Mayor Dean, you have members raising their hand,
Okay.
I believe, because we
Members?
didn't go to public comment yet, did we?
Okay.
Not yet.
Just the.
We're just approving the agenda.
Correct.
Okay. They looks like the one individual that had their hand up earlier.
All right. So now right now, let's now open to the public.
I think we need to vote on the approval of the agenda. There's a motion and a second on the floor, sir. I believe
Yes, that is what I was thinking.
we think alike.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah, now roll call, please.
Councilmember, excuse me, Councilmember Felder,
Yes.
Councilmember Lowe,
Aye.
Councilmember Agrimonti.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Barnett,
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
All right. That's a great. Right now, we are going to agenda number 1, that is comments from the public, that regular. At this time, all items not appearing on today's agenda, that is your time to speak it out. Please keep your speech in the 3 minutes or less. Start by stating your name and how to spell it. Thank you so much.
Looks like the first individual that we have is Jim McFadden.
All right. Hi, Farron. It's your turn.
Thank you. My name is Jim McFadden, McFadden. I've been living here in Sonoma since 1975, and I'm part of the Sonoma Valley Housing Group. As a group, we are very concerned about the lack of public input into the city housing element process and input into analysis of the housing element components. We'd like to be in the kitchen, as it were, to help mix the ingredients and see what factors and data are being used. How will we know what factors were and were not considered in developing the evaluation of past performance, site inventory, housing needs assessment, constraints analysis, and how the city fits affirmatively furthering fair housing into the plans. We would like to have a sense of how the plan is being developed and what the priorities are. As lower income affordable housing advocates, we're concerned that the seriousness of the housing crisis may be understated and that adequate plans will not be put in place to offset and mitigate high land cost constraints. It appears that the public will get a pre-baked plan by the time the housing element draft comes out, and we will only be able to react to the draft. The time until the draft comes out is short, and much time has passed when the public could have been engaged in what the city's analysis is shaping up to say. We are looking forward to having a chance to comment on the baking process before any housing element cake comes out. It will be hard to unbake a cake. Hopefully the draft stage will still allow housing elements ingredients to be mixed in different ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Faden.
Next, we have Lori Bremner.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Lori Bremner, B-R-E-M-N-E-R. I live in Boise Hot Springs, but my 3 sons graduated from Sonoma Valley High, and I've had an office on the plaza for 25 years. So although I'm not a constituent, I'm very involved in the city of Sonoma. I'm also a longtime volunteer for the American Cancer Society. First, I want to congratulate and thank Councilmember Agrimonti for being the first then mayor in the state to sign on in support of the Yes to Protect Kids from Candy Flavored Tobacco campaign, which is a statewide campaign in support of the law passed by the state to end the sale of flavored tobacco. As soon as the governor signed that law in August of 2020, the tobacco industry spent $20 million to referendize it and put its implementation on hold until the November election. Councilmember Agrimonti has now been joined by many mayors around the state and many city council members in support of the campaign, but she was the first then mayor, and I'm proud of that. I now encourage each of you to endorse the campaign and be the first entire council to sign on in support. It's easy, just go to the yestoprotectkids.org website and click the Our Team link, where you can see all the other elected officials who've signed on, and then click the blue Join the Coalition button on that page. The regular sign up button on the home page won't give you the opportunity to identify yourself as a council member. I'll be so proud to thank you all in a letter to the editor when you're the first full council to endorse this life-saving effort. Some of you will know that the city of Sonoma was an early adopter in passing a flavored tobacco restriction several years ago. Sonoma came this close to making history to be the first city in the state to pass a comprehensive flavor ordinance. But at the last minute, the council exempted menthol. Just before the vote for a comprehensive policy, Councilmember Cook said his vineyard manager chewed menthol chew, and he didn't want him to have to go out of town to get it, and menthol was exempted. But now more than 115 cities and counties have passed comprehensive flavor ordinances, and it's time for Sonoma to go back and amend their ordinance to include menthol, like Windsor just did. Petaluma just passed the most comprehensive and best practice ordinance in the county, and the unincorporated county has begun the process of matching Petaluma. It's time for Sonoma to do so as well. The County Tobacco Coalition has lots of resources to make it easy on the city attorney and city staff to amend the outdated ordinance and bring it up to current standards. I respectfully ask you consider putting this on your agenda in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bremner.
Next, we have Robert Demler.
Thank you, Rebecca. Mayor Ding, Vice Mayor Barnett, and council members, thank you for letting me speak tonight. I My name is spelled Demler. I live on First Street West. I've been a resident of Sonoma for, well, I can't do the math in my head just now, but since 1996, and I've been coming here since 1971. I love this town, as most of you know. I have two things to say. They were mentioned tonight, but they're not strictly on the agenda, so I think I'm on safe turf for doing this. I want to congratulate Acting City Manager Susan Casey, and as the Executive Director of the Sonoma League for Historic Preservation, I hope we can establish a dialogue and get some things done that have been pending for a very long time. And so I congratulate you, and I also give you my sympathies. I'm sure you are inheriting a desk with stacks and stacks of paper. So, thank you. And secondly, to Vice Mayor Barnett, thank you for the very heartfelt expression of your event from last night. When I was your age, or younger, and that was a very long time ago, I also drove when I should not have driven. Somehow I was never arrested, but I'm sure I put myself and others in harm's way in that process. And so I feel for you, and I want to thank you for your expression tonight, which I believe, as I said, was heartfelt. So thank you very much. That's all I have to say, Mayor Ding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Demler.
Next, we have Kathy King.
Hello. Can you hear me or see me?
Yes.
Yes, we can
Hi.
hear you.
Hi, I'm
Mhm.
Kathy King. Last name is King. I'm the Executive Director of Sonoma Overnight Support. I'd like to inform the City Council that the funding for the from the county, from the CDC of the winter hotel stays will be ending on February 28th. The CDC granted $117,100 to a local hotel for 10 bed nights, for 10 hotel rooms for 90 days starting December 1st. SOS will receive $85,000 for the operational costs to run the winter shelter program. That includes a staff person, includes case manager, intake, private security, administration. It also pays for all the meals. The total amount of the grant from the county is $192,600. I want to thank the county and the CDC and the local hotel for their generosity. They only charged $119 per night. In addition, SOS paid for extra 5 nights because of the long waiting list in February. But we cannot afford to continue to do that. On March 1st, 15 homeless people will return to their previous place where they were sleeping. That could be outdoor space, could be in their vehicles, or God knows where. It's not just the responsibility of the county and of SOS, but of the city of Sonoma and the city council to take care of our homeless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. King.
You can give them just a few more seconds if no one else is raising their hand. So let's do a last call for hands for general public comment. No one's raising their hand, Mayor Ding.
Thank you so much. If you have more than a public comments, we are always in the open. You can call us, leave the phone message, and also you can send us an email. That is in the public comments at sonomacity.org. Thank you so much. Agenda number 2, meeting dedications. Councilmember Agrimonti.
Oh, thank you. I just had everything. Just a moment. Here it is. So sorry. This is so special. I apologize. I do have a meeting dedication for Len Tillum, who is referred to as the country lawyer. or Loya, as he would have said it. Born in 1944, Sonoma resident and lawyer Len Tillum passed away at his home on January 13, 2022. Len Tillum's radio show is believed to be the first successful legal affairs program until 2011. He majored in theater at Brooklyn College and then later got his law degree at New York University. He started with a weekend broadcast out of Napa. After 7 years broadcasting on weekends, he moved to 7 years broadcasting following Dr. Dina Dell on KGO. He took a dull subject and made it funny and sometimes outrageous. In 2016, Tillum merged his law firm into Tillum, McNichols, and Brown, with two lawyers, Rosie McNichols and David Brown, whom he mentored. Len Tillum leaves behind his wife of 35 years, Susan Fagan of Sonoma, daughters Feyre, Gonda, Phoebe Tillum, and sister Susan Tillum. Her daughters Joya, Kiva, and Layla. So I'm dedicating that to Len Tillum. Also Phyllis Gurney, the original influencer. Phyllis Gurney, 76, with a longtime teacher, the spoonful of sugar that made the medicine, as in exercise, go down. She grew up in San Francisco, came of age in the Golden Gate Park. We can assume whatever comes to your mind with that. She was a consummate teacher and influencer. She taught in high school jazzercise spin classes for over 52 years. Phyllis made room for every kind of soul, created a safe place to be within her construct, and shined a light on you as a unique human, complete with flaws and deserving of love. Phyllis cared broadly for her community and the world. She died as she lived with grit, determination, courage, and dignity. She passed on January 22nd, 2022, and Phyllis leaves behind her husband, John Gurney. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Agrimonti. Anyone have the more dedications? This is the time. All right, thank you so much. Let's move on to agenda number 3. Presentation 3.1, the presentation by Creative Sonoma on a valley-wide cultural plan.
I'm bringing the individuals in that are part of the presentation now. So if I know Connie is, I think she's leading it, if she wants to go ahead and start, if you're okay with that, while I'm bringing the rest in. Mayor Dean?
Yes,
Can you hear me
that's
okay?
great.
Yeah, okay. I have a team, it's a team effort here that we're in, and some of the team members are with us. So Charlotte, you want to introduce yourself, and then John, Linda next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, council members, for having us tonight. My name is Charlotte Hager. I'm the executive director at the Soma Community Center.
Hi, everyone. My name is John Arntz. I've lived in the Valley since 1996, have 2 kids born at Sonoma Hospital. I'm a business consultant and coach, and you may have seen me around town a bunch playing music. I'm a musician here in town.
Hi, I'm Linda Keaton, Executive Director at Sonoma Valley Museum of Art.
I think we're missing 2 of our members, Mark Bodenhammer and a combination of Simon and Kimberly Blattner. And I'm Connie Schleline, and I'm a retired arts teacher and a community arts activist at this time. And we are a collective that has been working together. Thank you for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to share kind of an innovative idea, and it will be kind of a different presentation for you, I think, I hope. We are into creativity, and we really love this community. We are people that believe deeply that the arts are integral to a vibrant community. The Creative Alliance is a grassroots organization. We have been, as I mentioned, gathering for several years. We love this quote: "We are the sculptors of this day. We can form it into a wonderful masterpiece." And we feel like this is the moment, after several years of research, to share our idea with you and a number of other organizations in the community. We're a small group right now, but we don't think we will be very long. This is the moment. We long to be proactive. We didn't want to be in our own silos. We thought that by working together, we could the sum could be more than the parts. And so we were meeting in conference rooms for several years, huddled together, thinking about, dreaming what Sonoma could be if we all these organizations started to work together. And then boom, the pandemic hit. So then we huddled over our individual computers, much like we're doing now, to Zoom together, to dream together, to plan together and research. And it was a little like gathering around a campfire, telling stories. And we hoped there would be a time when we could again gather. And now we've done that. We were imagining Sonoma Valley 10 years from this time. And our vision, you will see tonight, but our vision isn't the most important vision. It's a community vision for what Sonoma Valley could be if it prioritized arts and culture more dearly. So let's take you on a brief journey, and I'd like you all to close your eyes, and I want you to jumpstart your imagination. So we're going to do just a little guided journey. We have taken the liberty of providing you with a time machine, and it's right beside you. I don't know if you've looked at it yet. You can see it, but you need to jump in it because it's brand new, and time machines are pretty wonderful. We're going to take you 10 years to the future. You each have your own. So turn that little dial to 10 years, and we're going to go look at what a great, vibrant, creative community Sonoma Valley could be if we all imagine it together. We're going to land on South Broadway right by Friedman's, and we're going to think about how it's different now. What are you seeing? What does the entryway look like to our valley? And we're hovering over the plaza. We're hearing music. Where's that coming from? Where's the art? What are the smells? What's the culinary going on? We're moving over into the valley. Is it united? So we want you to imagine, much like we want our community to imagine, what we could be like in 10 years. So now this is our vision. This is what our vision is. But again, this is a community process. Our vision is the city of Sonoma and Sonoma Valley becomes a world-class arts destination. We have all the essential ingredients in this valley. We just want to be world-class. We want to be recognized. We could brand ourselves. We need to connect the dots. The potential is absolutely huge. So 3 things to remember tonight as we're presenting this slideshow. Cultural planning is a community process, a community engagement process done by professionals. It can diversify and expand our valley's economy and help the creative industry. It can transform an entire community, not just the arts, history, education. This is our core group. The people and the organizations above the line are the ones that have been working for a number of years together, some off and on. Some have joined and come back and forth, but we're pretty committed to this. And those under are just a few of the many organizations that have expressed great interest. We will be building partnerships, and this is an inclusive endeavor We are not elitist. We are not exclusive. We want everyone to be involved. So what is cultural planning? Cultural planning is a public process where community representatives undertake a comprehensive community assessment to create a plan of implementation for future cultural programming. Healdsburg's already done this, and it's pretty astounding what's happening. The planning process. We need to hire a cultural planner, and we have several in mind. We've been looking. There's some great ones out there. And then listen and learn to the community of the community. What are their dreams? What's their vision? How do they imagine? And then help them craft a vision for what would make their community more vibrant. It's a shared responsibility and ownership, and it creates public will. And we've already seen that in a number of communities that have done it. Why is cultural planning even needed, you might ask? And we think it's because, number one, we're really not known as an arts community, even though we have an astounding amount of arts organizations and creative artists and all other types of arts. We aren't known for the arts. We aren't branded for the arts. The creative economy is important in this area, and it can use a boost. Equity and inclusion. When you engage the power of the arts, the entire community unifies and rallies, and it's pretty exciting. And deepening the community involvement. The Youth Truth Survey recently just said that our secondary school students feel disconnected. We have many divergent people that are not feeling connected to our community. We're very fortunate. The Sonoma community, the Sonoma Chamber of Commerce gets this. The arts are an economic driver, and they're not only an economic driver for tourism, they're an economic driver for our local culture too. What's interesting about the Americans for the Arts study in 2017 was that we found that cultural tourists spend 3 times as much money as wine tourists. They stay 3 times as long as wine tourists, and they are often the same target audience. The arts allow communities to retain local dollars and attract visitors' dollars. Culture is a magnet that retains local spending and attracts visitors to the region. If a community fails to provide a variety of artistic and cultural experiences, not only will it fail to attract new dollars from cultural tourists, it will also lose discretionary spending of its own residents who will travel elsewhere for similar experiences.
Connie?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you think you were sharing your screen?
Yes, am I not?
No.
Oh, no. That's sad. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Oh, darn. So we're a community of creators. Many of you know that. Many of you know a lot of different people that do all sorts of things. The lighting, architects, designers, stonemasons, tattoo artists, welders, brewers. So we have a lot of variety of artists, and we do a lot of creating in this community. In Sonoma County in 2017, 134,000 were employed in creative businesses. And $80 million was generated annually by just 42 nonprofits of the arts groups, of which Sonoma Community Center and Sonoma Valley Museum of Art participated in that. The creative industry is one of the top 10 fastest growing industries in Sonoma County. And there has been a 25% increase in creative industries in Sonoma County. Benefits that others have observed: the Healdsburg has just finished their cultural plan, as I mentioned. Their creative community is really engaged and they are doing amazing things together. There's a lot of short-term benefits, branding, an arts council. They've been working on an architectural asset map. NAPA's been doing the same, cultural calendars, marketing and arts and cultural tourism has been shared. Arts education has been improved. The cultural districts have been established, improved economy, public art master plan, which obviously we think we need, an annual collaborative arts festival, and creative workforce. That is, there are many needs that the creative workforce has. The benefits, what are we asking? We're asking you to embrace the idea. We're a grassroots organization. We are not out of the city. We are valley-wide. We are community. But we think, and we've been told, that it's vital for the main city to embrace the idea in order for a cultural plan to have success. We're asking funding advice and guidance. We think we know how to fundraise, but it's always helpful to get that advice. Midterm, we would love to have a city council liaison for communication purposes and to ensure success. Long-term, we're going to need some help with co-hosting town halls, going to where the people are, doing surveys. This is probably about a 10-year plan, but it's going to take probably a year to do. And Healdsburg has just recently prioritized arts and culture in their city goals. What's been done already? 3+ years of research. A lot of community engagement. We've been talking to people pretty widely, getting their input. Financing, we've been looking at all sorts of ideas for how to finance this. A Creative Bridges was formed. It's an arts education nonprofit, 22 nonprofits coming together to improve the arts in Sonoma Valley Unified School District, partnering with the school district. We have a very active superintendent who is a band student, loves music, and he's very engaged. And consulted 6 times with Healdsburg, who's delighted we're doing it and very enthusiastic. Sonoma Valley, imagine a world-class work of art, a destination. We think we have it all right here, right now. We just need to package it. And we think by working together, that tide can raise all boats. And we hope you will join us with enthusiasm. Thank you for listening, and we'd welcome your questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Connie. Any other comments?
Well, this is
all right. Councilmember Agrimonti.
Sure, thank you. You know, for some time now, I have felt that art/culture and history should be at the table here for the city of Sonoma for our tourism, to draw people that want to come, besides the wonderful wine, restaurants, and just who we are here in Sonoma, the beautiful weather, beautiful being here. But there are a couple of things that are missing, and that has to do with the art and culture and also history. So I'm pleased to hear this, and I hope that this moves forward in a way. I looked up Healdsburg and I saw they have a whole plan. They're pretty far ahead of what's going on here, but I look at what you're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Presenter Linda Keaton.
You're mute, Ms. Keaton. Ms. Keaton, you're mute.
There we go. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mayor Ding and council members, for allowing us to present to you today about cultural planning. I'm particularly excited and want to emphasize that this is a community project driven by the community. And I love that aspect of the process. We have a huge opportunity here to brand Sonoma as an arts community. The assets are all here, they're in place. We're all doing the work already, and we need to let the world know what a tremendous arts and culture scene that we have here in our community. Sonoma Valley Museum of Art fully supports this initiative with great enthusiasm, and I'm very excited about the possibilities.
Thank you, Linda Keaton. Next is Charlotte Hager.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ding and members of the City Council. Like Linda said, for allowing us to present here to you this evening. And I just wanted to add to what Linda already said on behalf of the Community Center, that this cultural planning process, as a truly community-driven effort to bring more focus to the power of creativity and culture in the arts, is something that the Community Center very strongly supports, even more so because we see that the benefits of a cultural planning process directly impact goals that I think we all share for this community. We're talking about strengthening the local economy, increasing diversity and equity, fostering more community engagement. These are things that all of us are striving for, no matter what sector we're working in. And at the Community Center, we feel that a cultural plan, and especially this kind of community-driven effort to arrive at a plan like that, is really a key way for us to get there. So we're really honored to be part of this initiative. And again, we're really grateful to you all this evening for inviting this presentation tonight.
Thank you so much, Charlotte Hager. All right, any more comments? Sandra Lowe, please.
Yes, if the participants are finished, I don't know if any of the other members of the group wanted to speak first. I didn't see anyone, so anyway. I'm always in favor of expanding the arts. I think that it's what, we worry about a lot of things, that are sort of day-to-day mundane, let's put one foot in front of the other, but the arts is what, sparks people, keeps them, caring about, their surroundings, people, etc. It's, I'm a big fan. Thank you for the presentation. I'm one of these people that that's great. Now, how do we make this happen? I'm like that person. So what I'm thinking is maybe what we need is someone representing the city, working with the proponents and looking at the examples from the various cities that you brought up to see if there's something there that we could model after, not have to recreate the wheel from scratch, and then bring something forward to the board, to the council. So, that's kind of where I'm going with it, because I think just from the amount of the groups that you mentioned that are involved, I mean, you've already sort of, you've brought everyone to the table that really needs to be there. So now we need to put the meat on the bones of this thing and see if there's something that we can bring forward. So I guess I'm looking to our city manager, interim city manager, to make a suggestion of how we might go forward in working as an ad hoc committee or something to give us some structure. I mean, we heard, we got a beautiful artistic presentation. Now how can we put some structure to it so that we can go forward? Because I think that there's a will to do that. So my question through the chair, through the mayor, is to Ms. Casey.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe.
Can she reply to that? Just structurally, my question.
So we can, the council desires, we could bring that back to the next council meeting, talking about, I mean, do you want to form another ad hoc committee to work on this? And I think we could do that at the next council meeting, if that's what the council desires.
And you could bring, we could have a staff report of some kind that would sort of help us guide that process a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
I did look online, Sandra, at the Healdsburg Arts and Culture, or Culture and Arts. So that's available. I'm sure a link.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure there's many things available. I'm just saying we're not going to solve it here after the presentation. I don't want it to drop. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we go forward to make this, to investigate, making this happen. So what I'm hearing, from our acting city managers, that we can bring this back, we can have a bit of a staff report, and then decide if we want to go forward with an ad hoc committee to work with the proponents.
Sounds good.
So I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Great. We'll put that on the next agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Susan. And make it quick. Yeah, very efficient. Idea to set up an ad hoc, and we can discuss more the next time. I'm really proud of our Sonoma. Sonoma is rich in history and also in cultural arts. That is the best part of our Sonoma. That is why the different here from another city. So usually economy, I was told when I in a school, economy is driven by technology. Where the technology comes from? Innovation, creativities. So right now, people realize that. That's wonderful. Usually, we always underestimated the power of the culture and the arts. Thank you, everyone, to bring us together and to move forward this great project. And also, I want to take this chance to say thank you, everyone, and your heart projects during the pandemic. It was the right time, help the community hear the hurts and lift our spirits. Definitely, we can work together, make it better. Thank you so much. Do you have more comments or questions? Hi, Councilmember Felder. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Ding. I fully support this initiative, but what I see that we really need is some effective support from our city staff to guide this effort. And we certainly have all of the groups that can participate, but without somebody taking charge at the helm, this will continue to flounder. And I realize that this requires an investment of both time and money to provide that kind of support. And I'm looking forward to the fact that maybe there's enough of a grassroots movement to find some kind of a grant or something to be able to support at least a part-time staff person that can actually take this function on and guide whatever group carries it forward. With that, I think we have a chance of success. Otherwise, we're going to continue in the vein we've been in. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Barnett, please.
You're mute.
Thank you. I'm back. Thank you, Mayor Ding. I'm very excited about this project. I spoke last year with Linda and Simon about this, and recently spoke to Connie about it. And this is exactly what I think Sonoma needs. Obviously, I'm very excited about the potential economic benefits. I don't think people really realize the extent of that when it comes to the arts, not just in terms of tourism, but just the local internal arts industry. And I liked learning about that. I totally echo the comments of Councilwoman Lowe and Councilman Felder about, obviously taking these great ideas and putting them into action. But I have confidence that this is the right team with the help of our city. This is the right team to do it, because I thought that was a great, thoughtful presentation. And I wish, I wish we approached a lot of things at the city with that kind of thought and analysis. And so I do have the confidence that we have the right players involved and the right organizations. And, obviously the community center is here tonight, the art museum, but there's a whole list of all the major nonprofits and creative groups in our valley that are behind us. I also think it's very important that this is a valley-wide plan. Clearly, we are the city of Sonoma, but we need to obviously support, the entire valley when it comes to this. I spent some time a little over a year ago in Santa Fe, and that is clearly an arts destination, and you feel it. And clearly, I think Sonoma has all the potential to do that. And I'm also interested to see what Healdsburg has to do. And I know that we're going to blow Healdsburg out of the water because we are Sonoma. And so very excited about this. And I would obviously, and I'm sure the council supports this initiative and creating a liaison and working with staff. And obviously we were supporting you, and hopefully, obviously, there would probably be financial support as well. So thank you for all you do for our community.
Thank you so much, everyone. And you just mentioned about the investment. Yes, that is investment. That is definitely high return investment in the long term, especially for our young generation. If the kids grow up in a very creative environment, you can imagine how much technology, how many creative ideas they have. And then all our society when move forward. And I'm so proud we have this project, and also I'm confident we can get it together and get it done.
Cool.
All right. So now I would like to say thank you again, and Connie and John and Charlotte and Linda, and also I know somebody else also working for this, Kimberly Blattner, and also the Mark Bodenhammer also working on this project. Also, I will say thank you to all artists, performer, writer, professors. You are using your talents and making our life better. Everyone.
That's pretty fun. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. Rebecca, could you please, all right, let's go to agenda number 3. And I believe today we have a presentation by Sue introduce our new staff director. Yeah.
Yes.
Direct.
Yes, that's correct. So Mayor Ding and City Council members, can we promote?
Trying to promote him right now.
Okay.
Right.
We'll get him on camera before I
there he is.
Start talking about him. There he is. There he is. Hi, Pat. So Mayor Ding and City Council members, I'm really glad to introduce Pat Eccles, who is serving as our interim Public Works Director while we're in the recruitment process for a new Public Works Director. Pat is a Florida native who moved to Santa Rosa in 1983 and has lived in Marin County since 1988. Pat recently retired after 25 years of public works experience in Marin County. Starting as a senior engineer for Mill Valley in 1994, Pat moved on to become Public Works Director for Fairfax in 1997, San Anselmo in 2000, and Tiburon in 2001. In 2007, Pat joined the County of Marin Department of Public Works, and prior to his retirement, served as the interim Public Works Director for the county. We're just really extremely grateful to have Pat's assistance and his expertise during this recruitment period. So Pat, did you want to say something?
Thank you, Sue, and thank you, Mayor Ding, members of the City Council. It's a pleasure to be here tonight with you, and it's an honor to serve the city. I'm glad to have this opportunity. Wasn't easy coming out of retirement, but at the request of Garrett, who I knew, from my experience in Marin County, I answered the call for a need while the city conducts its recruitment for a permanent director, and glad that I can lend my experience and knowledge keep things moving forward and moving as smoothly as possible during the transition to the new director. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. Do you have any questions?
No, I just want to say welcome, Pat. You and I have been in contact with each other. I had to learn how to spell your last name, and I'm so excited. You move at warp speed, which is something I'm so happy about. And you've already solved some issues here in Sonoma, which I think are great. You have wonderful people to work with, so they're right there with you. So I'm so glad you were able to do this, because I just think you're amazing. I'm just really excited you're here. And I don't know, I'm so impressed. I send an email, I get an answer. What a great thing. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate your being with us.
Thank you so much.
Pat, you are so great. Councilmember Agrimonti is your fan. Keep working on that. Thank you. Great.
Well, I do want to give a shout out to all the staff. The public works staff is pretty hardworking. They do a lot with limited resources, and as my experience over the years has been, they can go underappreciated. I think you don't think of public works until something doesn't go right, and they're doing a great job when we don't get complaints and everything's working the way it's supposed to be working.
Great.
They're wonderful. You're absolutely right. I bring treats to them, and yeah, they're great. I just appreciate your hard work, Pat. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you again, Pat. We are very grateful for your experience and your passion, and hopefully, the Sonoma is similar like the Marine, and then we rely on your experience and your professional knowledge, skills. Really appreciate leadership as well. All right, let's move on. Agenda number 4, consent calendar. All items listed on consent calendar are considered in the routine and will be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the council or the staff request specific items to be removed for separate action. Councilmember Agrimonti.
Yes, thank you. I would like to pull 4.2.
All right, 4.2. That is all right. That is Historical Society. Okay. Sandra Lowe, please.
I'd like to pull item 4.5.
4.5 regarding initiative. All right. Okay. 4.5. All right. Yeah, we can put.
I'd like to approve the consent calendar minus items 4.2 and 4.5.
Any second? And 1 second?
I'll second that.
All right. Roll call, please.
Mayor Ding, we need public comment on the
wait a
consent
minute.
calendar.
Let me open to the public. Sorry, I will need to get used to.
Still am not used to it. It's okay.
That's good. Yeah, always public. Yeah.
We do have one individual raising their hand.
Okay, we can wait.
It is Robert Demler.
Oh, sure. Hi, Mr. Demler, it's your turn.
Robert, if you're speaking, can you unmute yourself, please?
Sorry. Is this the time to discuss the contents of one of these items, or is it just to discuss pulling it?
I'm afraid that right now just pulling it.
Oh, well,
Wait, yeah,
Well,
a
no,
couple more
you
minutes.
technically you have the opportunity to comment on any item on the consent calendar that hasn't been pulled.
oh, I apologize. I'm happy with what's happening. I have no further comment.
All right, yeah, thank you. We talk later, Mr. Demler.
Okay.
All right, we have the motion, we have the second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Felder,
Aye.
Councilmember Lowe,
Aye.
Councilmember Agrimonti,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Barnett,
Aye.
Mayor Ding.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
All right, let's talk about the 4.2, adopting a resolution appointing the Sonoma Valley Historical Society as official in the city of Sonoma historian and archivist.
Mayor Ding and City Council members. So this item, we're asking the City Council to adopt a resolution authorizing the Sonoma Valley Historical Society as official City of Sonoma historian and archives. So at the February 2nd council meeting, the Sonoma Valley Historical Society, the SVHS, requested the city consider designating SVHS as the city's official historian and archives for the city of Sonoma. And at that meeting, the council requested the matter be brought back or agendized for consideration. So attached to the staff report is a letter from SVHS, and it details their qualifications, their role as the steward of Sonoma history since 1937, and their archives. The Sonoma Valley Historical Society runs the Depot Park Museum, Marcy House Archives and Research Center, which are open to tourists, students, scholars, the media, and other members of the public. So they manage both permanent and temporary exhibits about the history of Sonoma. So staff is recommending the appointment of SVHS as the official City of Sonoma historian and archives. And this appointment would also replace the role of the city historian. We also recommend that the City Council conduct biennial reviews of the appointment and relationship with SVHS. And the duties and responsibilities of SVHS as the City of Sonoma Historian Archives will be the same as the city historian, and they're outlined in the staff report. So again, we're asking City Council to adopt the resolution. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
All right, any questions from council members?
No, I think there is Patricia Cullinan. I think she's waiting in the wings.
Yes, but right now, if you have any questions.
No, I'm just asking that question. That's the
Yes,
question. Is she waiting in the wings?
Yes, she is.
All right, thank you.
If no any another question.
Mayor Ding, I have some comments, but I know
Sure.
that the members of the public that wish to speak on this item, and I'll wait until they have their opportunity.
Sure. Okay, that's great. So right now, we'd like to invite Patricia Cullen to develop more in the detail or ready. Patricia Cullen.
She's being brought in now, Mayor Ding.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Patricia, it's your turn.
Patricia, you'll need to unmute.
Am I unmuted? Yes.
Oh, yes. Mhm.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for considering this. The Sonoma Valley Historical Society would like to thank the City Council for acknowledging the efforts of the Historical Society in fulfilling an important role of the city historian and archives. We view this not as an honorary position, but as a strategic partnership with the City of Sonoma. Since 1937, we have collected, stewarded, preserved, and shared the history of the town of Sonoma and the entirety of the Sonoma Valley. We manage a world-class archive to professional standards and have recently been acknowledged by the Sonoma County Historical Records Commission for our efforts. Tonight, as you acknowledge the Sonoma Valley Historical Society as the city's historian and archives, you connect the city to a professional organization whose staff is daily answering questions from the public, including visitors, business entities, artists, and
you muted yourself.
Mute.
Technology.
Yeah, we can wait for a little bit.
How far did I get?
Yes. Yes.
Where did I stop?
That you've been offering services for you.
We offer, including visitors, business entities, authors, and artists. The Sonoma Valley Historical Society, with its resources, is best able to fulfill the professional requirements laid out in the resolution, with staff and support from member historians, as well as our partnership with California State Library and other national and international groups, connect Sonoma to a worldwide network of historians that work with us to provide accurate answers to the questions about our history. Thank you again for forming a strategic partnership with your local Sonoma Valley Historical Society. You guys have any questions?
Any questions?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Patricia,
Yes.
I know that the Sonoma Valley Women's Club has gotten assistance from you for digitizing. Is that something that is you're requested to do more than just from us?
We are in partnership with the California State Library, and we nominate material about Sonoma Valley history every year to their program. We have a very rare archive of newspapers that is online. If anybody ever looks up the Internet Archive to use, it's a amazing online library. Type in Sonoma Valley Historical Society and you see much of the material that we have had archived through the State Library program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm just going to add to David's store that we recently had some material donated to us that will be very interesting to him. So he needs to call me soon.
It's great.
If that's it, thank you very much. I think this is long overdue for the Historical Society to have an official relationship with the city of Sonoma.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, is there any more comments or questions from our council? Otherwise, I would like to open to...
You have a public comment, sir?
Okay.
There.
And I want to look at in the...
Yeah, there's public comment.
All right, let's open to the public.
Robert Demler.
Mr. Demler, that is your turn.
Yes, thank you very much. I will try to be as dispassionate as possible, but I am very passionate about Sonoma and history, as all of you know. I am the executive director of the Sonoma League for Historic Preservation, but I'm not speaking on their behalf tonight. I'm speaking as a private citizen. The Sonoma League does not consider itself to be a holder of archives. We have information on historic structures that are based on the historical survey, which we were asked to perform in 2012 with an update in 2017 by the state parks Office of Historical Preservation. We are not in competition with the Sonoma Valley Historical Society for archives. In fact, we recently gave a some small amount of archives to the Sonoma Valley Historical Society, and we planned to go through our depository again and give them more. I congratulate them on the good work that they do. I do, however, disagree with the scope of this resolution. And I would ask you please to listen to me carefully, and I will try to stay within three minutes. As former historian, I'm a great believer in having a citizen to be, as a former city historian, I'm a great believer in having a citizen participate in that process and be part of the greater city government. That can only be a good thing for the public. I also think that individual has a chance to provide research and present items of interest with a different perspective than one single group. This is why the rotation process of these appointments are so important. You get different people with different ideas, and I think that cannot be a bad thing. Therefore, I'm not sure I have the authority to recommend anything to you. I remember vaguely I do not, but it is my strong desire that you will consider this resolution tonight and approve it with the elimination of only 10 words. 12 words. Remove Garrett Toy and put in acting city manager, Susan Casey, and remove the words historian and, because all of the 7 bullet points really describe an archival responsibility. It does not really describe a city historian per se. So that's my strong recommendation, that you grant this to the Sonoma Valley Historical Society, who, I repeat myself, is doing a wonderful job.
This time there.
So and make this only for the archive. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Demler. Thank you.
Next, we have Kate Schertz.
Hi, Schertz.
I'm muting myself. I'm unmuted.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to make the connection between the Historical Society and Connie's entire presentation about arts and culture. Everybody keeps talking about arts as the performing arts, the plastic arts, etc. Culture is a big C, and culture absolutely includes and is integral to the part of history. The history of our valley is the culture of the valley. It reflects the culture of the valley. It creates the culture of the valley. So when you think about arts and culture, please don't forget about the big word culture in that. Don't think just about the plastic arts, the performing arts, etc., but think about culture and all of what culture entails. And when I think back to the exhibits that we've had at the Depot Park Museum over the 5 years that I've been involved in it, I put together the 2 baseball shows. We now have a history of baseball in Sonoma Valley. It never existed before, and it wouldn't exist if it hadn't been for someone spending between 2,000 and 5,000 hours putting it together. And I'm an amateur historian, but I did the research, and I had all the people come in who had played ball in this town and bring their kids in, and the grandparents brought their grandchildren in and said, look, there I am. And that's culture too. Our next show will be about quilts, and we're having between 12 and 16 quilts made specifically that depict the scenes and the buildings of Sonoma. This is culture. This is culture. So just remember that when you think about arts and culture. Don't forget the C part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schertz.
Next, we have Fred Alabach.
Hi, Mr. Alabach. It's your turn.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Ding and City Council and City staff. As a former board member of the Sonoma Valley Historical Society, I'd like to fully support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alabach.
Give him just another a couple seconds for anyone else.
Yeah, we can wait.
It doesn't appear that anyone else is raising their hand, Mayor Ding.
All right, yeah. Let's come back to our council for discussion. Sandra Lowe, please.
Yeah, I looked at the resolution and I thought it was, I wasn't around when the first discussion, so I want to sort of know more about the historian position. What happened? Why are we're really in a sense kind of combining it with the archives. I'm interested in the comments made by Mr. Demler. I mean, would this historical society basically have the same agency that we're trying to create without having the word historian in there, and still give us the ability, if at some time we want to have a historian, to have a historian? And I just don't know what happened to that. And it seems to me that the resolution and the good works that are going on could continue. Right now, we don't have a historian, so they could continue without that. And maybe we can bring back to the council just that piece, so we can talk about whether or not we want to have a historian or not, and whether or not that should be a person, or whether or not that should be just part of the offerings that the Historical Society bring. But I'd like to have a little bit of history and knowledge about, here we are talking about history, right? And I'm asking for some, so that can't be bad, right? So I just kind of like to know what happened with that and what the historian does, what the roles are. I understand the purpose of archives. That makes complete sense to me, but I just don't want to eliminate this concept of historian if it's something that maybe we should somehow identify in some other way. And maybe after that discussion, it's like, absolutely, Historical Society, that makes perfect sense. Or maybe it's something like, we don't need to have it, or it's an option of the council. But I just kind of like to pull that out and find out, like, what historically happened to it, what was the purpose in the past, and maybe because I don't want to eliminate something that then someone comes back and says, well, that was the historian's job and nobody's doing it. So anyway, so those are my questions. So I'm totally in favor of the resolution, but I would like to see if we could pull out that piece, bring it back to the council, just to give us a little background on that particular role. I would feel more comfortable about it if I knew more about it. But that's, again, because I wasn't there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. I also understand what you're saying. Councilmember Agrimonti, please.
Yes, thank you. As I said, the Women's Club has started in 1901, and we just had a bunch of junk sitting around. And so the Historical Society digitized everything, and that includes the minutes from all the meetings from 1901 into the 60s. So we're going to follow up with that. And it explains everything that they've done for the city of Sonoma, which I think is so wonderful because it's been documented. And I think with respect to the historian is possibly a caretaker. Not necessarily do caretakers, there have been in the past, but have the knowledge of history. They're caretakers. So unless somebody could, change my thoughts on that, there were some who have been wonderful. They are real historians. Some have been caretakers and learn as you go. So the Historical Society doesn't have to learn as you go. They've been here since 1937. And if you look at a lot of different groups here, the wineries go to them for assistance to find out their own histories. So that's the difference I see of a historian, because as I said, it's a caretaker, but the caretaker needs to come with this type of experience and not just be an administrator. So that's what I've seen
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it back. I think you made my point, is that we're not, let's define what it is, so then we know where it belongs. Yeah.
All right, then more comments? Vice Mayor Barnett, please.
Thank you, Mayor Ding. I just want to echo the comments of Sandra Lowe or Councilwoman Lowe. I think that that's a fair point. I think that we should probably learn a little more about the history of the historian, no pun intended, and sort of talk more about that and get more input from our historical groups about that. I am very thankful to the Sonoma Historical Society for willing to serve as the repository for our city archives. I think that's very exciting. The Sonoma Valley Historical Society is a great organization. Patricia Cullinan does amazing work with it. Lori does great work there. And we're so lucky to have that in the Marcy House right next to where we typically meet, and we'll meet again soon. I always actually envisioned the Historical Society as sort of a, just as we work with the Vintage House and the Community Center and the Boys and Girls Club, and I always view in the Art Museum, et cetera, I view the Historical Society to be one of those community partners, and I think that's very important. I also want to thank Robert Demler's comments as well. The League for Historic Preservation is also important. I mean, we're so lucky in a small town that we have two historic organizations of that caliber. And Robert Demler, obviously, he was our city historian, and I learned a lot from him in many ways. He challenged my perspectives on some things. I know he remembers our discussion about the Seven Flags of Sonoma, and he brought up some very important points. And so as we move forward, I think that we should talk more about just the history of this role, the need for the role, how it could be reimagined, how the Historical Society perhaps could serve. I agree that it's awkward that an organization would be a historian when a historian seems sort of like a person. And so I think we should talk a little more about that and talk to our local historic organizations. But I'm just very excited that we're doing this, and I just have the greatest respect for our Historical Society. And if anyone ever has the time, go to the Marcy House. They have amazing archives, all of the old Index Tribune, just amazing photos. I've spent many days there, and it's fascinating, and it makes you realize what a special place and a special history we have here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Councilmember Felder, please.
Thank you. I want to say that I certainly respect and endorse the role that the Historic Society has done in archiving the data, and I would fully support that part of the resolution. But I also agree with Mr. Demler that we have a very unique town here and a very unique history, and it seems appropriate that we maintain the role of an individual as the historian for Sonoma. Granted, it has fallen in disrepairs over the last little bit, but it has served a very useful function, and it has a very unique part of our history as part of its function. So I think we should explore keeping that as a separate individual rather than just the society, whether that individual is associated with the society or not, but I think it should be a separate appointment by the city.
Yes. Vice Mayor Barnett, please. Next is the Councilmember Agrimonti.
Okay. I was just going to jump in and just briefly say, I think this is a really important time to be doing this because we're coming up on some important years in our city's history. Obviously, the founding of the mission was in 1823. 2023, we're bicentennial. The founding of the Pueblo by General Vallejo in 1835. It's a perfect time to be really focusing on the history of Sonoma, and I just wanted to thank the local organizations for doing so.
That's great. Thank you, Vice Mayor Barnett. Councilmember Agrimonti.
Sure, thank you. So I only have one request, that if there is an appointment of historian, it has to be an actual person and not just a caretaker, someone who actually brings that interest with them, and not just a manager or looking for projects. And maybe it's an issue with the Historical Society, a wordsmithing problem. I don't know, but I just think it's really important. So if we're not ready to make that decision, I'm okay with it. I just had to comment on those two things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, I echo all council members' comments. This is a serious issue. And before we made a decision, everybody should understand, got enough education, and make the decision very, very firm. I also, when we made any decision, and we should look at the history where this title was created. As far as I know, that is a former Jerry Hill and Robert Palmilli. These are the two famous gentlemen. Unfortunately, they already passed away. They treat this title, it's kind of an honorable title for the historian. Basically, they should be either one become our first Sonoma historian. However, they are, gentlemen. They are talking, oh, I nominated you, and you nominated me, and so that is it's a very, very beautiful story, because recently Kathleen Hill wrote an article on the Historical Society in honor Robert Palmilli. So it reminds me, hey, this title also it's kind of asset for our city. We should very evaluate what's going on. Why? My understanding is a historian should be a person, but it could be an organization. We need to do more research. What is in a proper way? And also, I know very well the first historian, that is George McHale. Always he was very, very proud. Also, I pay him extra respect because he is historian. So basically, I think everyone, already got at this point. We think more and do more research and listen more from our communities. And I hope, we can, find a resolution, get more common grounds, and then in the near future. Any more comments?
Mayor Ding, so Rebecca actually sent me a copy of a resolution and a staff report from 2019 that discussed the city historian process. And I guess the position was established in 2008. And in 2019, there was a discussion and direction on the future structure of the position. It does note in the staff report that the responsibilities are exactly the same as was listed in this staff report for the Historical Society. But I think at that time, the city created a council ad hoc committee to review and refine the roles and responsibilities of the historian. And I asked Rebecca, is that committee still active? And she said it was dissolved because nothing was, that I guess it didn't meet or whatever. I don't know. So we do have that history as well. So we could, bring that information back, but it's exactly the same roles as was listed in the staff report. So for the city historian. So, I think that, the position was established originally in 2008 and 2019. It was brought back to council to say, what is this a position? What do we want to do with it? And the ad hoc committee was established, but I think that nothing ever came of it. So, we could take a look at that, bring it back to the next council meeting if you want, and then, figure out if another ad hoc committee wants to be established, or or how we want to review that, or what would maybe define the roles of the SVHS as opposed to an actual city historian, and if we want to bring that back.
Thank you so much, Sue. Yeah, you give us a quick feedback. That is wonderful. You're gonna do a lot of work usually, and tomorrow or the next week. I appreciate.
Well, thanks, Rebecca.
We were not gonna make any motion, right? No any motion, just next time we will continue to discuss, right?
Mayor Ding, I'm just happy we're talking about it.
Okay.
I'm just happy there's a discussion. It's one that's should have happened before, but I like all the comments that everyone has had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and thank you so much to Acting City Manager for quickly finding that. That was so helpful.
That's great. Thank you.
We really appreciate it. And I think when we bring it back, I think we can decide whether or not this belongs as a person or part of the entity, because I think that's what we're sort of coming down to there. But that information was super helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So, all right, let's move on. Agenda number 4.5, Sandra Lowe.
Yeah, I pulled this. You know, some of you know I work on ballot measures. That's kind of what my day job is. So it's awkward, but you know,
with a menthol cigarettes, you might as well go on.
Listen, believe me, that one is qualified. The difference is this one hasn't qualified. This one is just got title and summary at the beginning of January. It hasn't qualified. And, you know, this has happened before where the council was asked to take an opinion on a bill that had already been signed, for example, or a bill that already was dead. And, you know, there's a lot of initiatives pending and that are in signature gathering. This is one of them. There's also legalization of ferrets and a lot of other very important things. But I would like to wait and see if this thing actually is real before we comment on it and take a position, because I'd like to see that. I just don't see any point of a council taking positions on legalization of ferrets or this particular policy, which, by the way, I think is terrible. And you know, should they get the signatures, I think we should take a position of opposition. But I would like to wait to see if things are real and actually make comments about policy when we can actually make a difference, instead of getting all stirred up over things that, you know, may or may not come to fruition. So that's my only reason for pulling it. I certainly agree with the staff's recommendation of opposing it. Should it qualify? It's not even close. So I'd like to bring it back if and when it qualifies.
Great comments. Thank you so much. You are using your professional to tell us. Yeah, really appreciate it. Any more comments?
You know, I actually think that makes a lot of sense. I think that was a very, yeah. I mean, how could we argue against that? It's not even qualified yet. So I support that.
Yeah. All right. Councilmember Agrimonti, do you have?
I think the word Vice Mayor was looking for compelling.
Compelling.
Perfect. Absolutely.
All right. Councilmember Felder, do you have any comments for agenda number 4.5?
No, I agree that we should hold off and wait till this actually qualifies before we move forward on it.
And thank you, Councilmember Lowe, bringing it to our attention.
Wonderful. Yeah. All right. Let me now open to the public.
No one appears to be raising their hand. Mayor Ding.
All right. So let's come back to council. And then for me, I totally agree. We haven't known the detail yet. I'm afraid we cannot make any position on this. So how we can, do we need a motion or just the no motion and then let it go?
I move that we bring it back when and if it qualifies.
Yes. So Casey, in this way, if we follow Sandra Lowe's instruction, do we need to make any motion or just sit here and then we come back in the future?
I think Councilmember Lowe's motion is appropriate given the direction, and if that gets a second and 5.
I will second it.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Felder?
Yes.
Councilmember Lowe?
Aye.
Yeah.
Councilmember Agrimonti?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Barnett?
Aye.
Mayor Ding?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next item, agenda item number 5, public hearing. Today, we don't have any public hearing. Agenda number 6. Agenda number 6.1, receive update report from the Sonoma Overnight Support, SOS, and the city staff on the status of the finding temporary or permanent new location for the safe parking program and provide a direction to the staff as appropriate. Sue Case?
Yeah, Mayor Ding and City Council members. So I don't know if Kathy King, I don't believe that Kathy King is going to make a presentation tonight. That's my understanding. So I don't want to talk over her, but that was what my understanding. She was just going to do public comment. So
she is raising her hand.
Oh, okay.
Technology.
If we can, I don't know if I can, for some reason it doesn't want to promote. Oh, there she goes.
Can you, can I
Hi.
make I was going to make a statement. Hello?
Yes, just take the update.
Yeah, I was just
All
going
right.
to make a statement, as was our Associate Director, Francisco. So good evening again, Mayor Day and council members. What I'd like to tell you right now is that we continue to look for wraparound services that will include a commercial kitchen, office space, laundry, shower facilities, close to services. We're also working for solutions to make the parking lot safe for all. We have a meeting with the Field of Dreams Volunteer Board on February 25th to look into security concerns. I've also been in touch with the Commander Vaughn of the Vets Hall, and she is going to offer help for veterans for hotel vouchers in the future. To set the record straight, the report that I did read from the city staff is that the Haven is not used only for laundry and services, but that is not the case. There are 5 different staff people that use the office there. Case manager has her meetings there, administrative assistant, bookkeeper, associate director, and the Haven's manager is there to do the oversight with the safe parking, laundry, and showers. All of that functions out of that building. Also, our paper items for food program, donations such as 1,000 socks from Bombast, hygiene kits are all at the Haven. As you know, our food program serves 250 meals a day, and we have no storage at the Springs Hall. So we need to move the non-perishable items from the Haven into the Springs Hall. The Haven also has an emergency bedroom for women and children, and if need be, we will put people up in emergency short-term hotels. There are currently 8 cars in the parking lot with 9 people. I expect once the winter shelter is closed that we will have more people on the wait list for the parking lot. I'd also like to introduce Francisco Kilgore, who's going to make a statement, and then I'll answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. Yes, Kilgore.
Hello, everybody. I was wondering if I should wait until after the presentation.
You want to share some screens with us, or
Where is he?
I'm right here.
we can
Sorry.
see your.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
I was wondering if I should wait until after Susan gave her presentation, or if I should go before it doesn't.
I want to suggest that you can do that right now. We just
Okay.
If you have any questions later, you can also answer our questions.
Great. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, good evening, council members. My name is Francisco. I'm the Associate Director of SOS. As we discussed at length, the role of safe parking is an essential part of SOS services. By allowing members of our community to safely park, we give them the peace of mind to begin thinking about new opportunities. With the additional benefit of showers, laundry, food, and case management we provide for them, this process can move more efficiently. Simultaneously, SOS provides these same services to more than 150 people who do not have cars and thus cannot use the safe parking program at all. At the moment, many of these services are located at Springs Hall on Highway 12, while the remainder are at the Haven, which functions not only as a center for showers and laundry, but as an important office, as Kathy mentioned, and storage space for at least 5 employees who frequently work there. Though we recognize the challenge of sharing the city's public parking lot with additional groups, the city's staff report, which is in the agenda today, highlights the infeasibility of moving the Haven to its current location due to budget constraints. SOS continues to evaluate our current needs and recognizes that the ideal footprint would be to unify all SOS operations under one roof, to have emergency shelter rooms, safe parking, food program, case management, and other wraparound services, all in a centralized location. None of the places in which we are now meet that need. We have already looked at 10 possible locations and require active assistance from the city to find a suitable property. We need the city to search for property on SOS's behalf that would fulfill these requirements. I don't think it would be productive to find a temporary solution. This will only prolong the process and potentially exacerbate current conflicts. I should reiterate that without SOS oversight, the Field of Dreams parking lot will continue to be a public parking lot where anyone can legally park for 72 hours at a time. The question of how we Sonomans share that space will continue to be something we need to think about. Also, further splintering SOS's footprint will break the delicate trust we have with our clients and with the community at large. In the meantime, we are more than open to innovative solutions and to communication with members of the community. SOS is actively seeking additional ways to work more closely with our current neighbors and to help. I'd like to end my statement with a personal story, which is that I grew up in Sonoma, but until 3 years ago, I barely had an idea that we had homeless individuals around. When I walked into SOS as a volunteer 2 years ago for the first time, I remember feeling a sense of fear bubble up, based only on popular conceptions of what homelessness is and false ideas of who make up the unhoused population. Over the next 4 months that I worked at the Haven serving food, washing dishes, and eating lunch with everybody, that fear slowly faded away, replaced instead with knowledge and compassion. I can still remember those people I once faced with trepidation, and now I know their names, and we sometimes can share laughs. Of course, people are unpredictable. Everyone is. But on a community scale, I'm hoping to build a greater sense of empathy by connecting with everyone's stories, by identifying the humanness in one another, to search for collaboration and partnership instead of fear. I hope that a community like Sonoma, known for its small town kindness and neighborly atmosphere, can find a solution that builds more trust and partnership rather than fear and division. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Before we start to discuss, I would like to make a minor statement by the law. I am City Council of the Sonoma City. Also, I'm a board member of SOS. According to the letter sent from the state FPPC to our city manager, Jeff Water, April 2011. Council member Dean has no any financial interest conflict with the SOS. So I'm allowed to discuss and make the decision and the vote for any issues related between the city and SOS. Thank you. So any more comments and questions? Right now it's the time.
You mean us?
Yes.
Sorry.
Councilmember Felder.
You're mute, Tom. I can't hear you, Mr. Felder.
There. I'm sorry. In the staff report, we have a comment that we might get more information about the Veterans Hall and the use of part of that parking lot. And I'm looking forward to whether the staff has actually received any more information.
Councilmember Felder, this staff report was, I have to say that I'm not as up to date on this staff report. I have not received any information regarding if that we've gotten more information from the veterans. I apologize for that, but been sort of a turmoil the last couple of days, and I just haven't really had a chance. I mean, I can I was going to just really kind of, review the staff report and, just kind of reiterate the information in the staff report. But I think you can all read that. I did want to thank Francisco and Kathy for their presentations. And as far as I know, we have not been contacted back by the veterans. They did, the city manager did reach out to HAS, which is, that stands for Homeless Action Sonoma, and just asking if there was any space on their property to actually relocate the Haven and the safe parking. And at this time, they said that there was not at this time, but they are applying to the county for building permits, and they're in the future there could be some spaces. But again, and I do apologize, I'm just not as up on this this item, and so I could reiterate what's in the staff report, but I think you can read that and you can see what the costs are. I mean, I think the main thing was that to find out what the cost would be to move the Haven over to the public works area, and it's pretty cost prohibitive. And it's just, I mean, it was a good exercise to see what it would be. And we also actually looked into just other temporary buildings, again, pretty cost prohibitive. And, it would require monthly rental and of facilities. So that's really my comment right now.
Okay, well, thank you for that. It's just that I believe that we had an action item from the last meeting that we would try to get some further information from the people at Veterans Building as to whether we could use that parking lot or not, because it at least gives us the opportunity to be reasonably close to the SOS location for other services, whereas the county yard or the city yard on 8th Street just doesn't seem to work out very well. So I would look forward to us continuing to pursue that so we can get some more information on why we cannot use that parking lot, since it is a public facility and we certainly have reasons that make it a suitable site for some of the homeless. Thank you.
Councilmember Agrimonti.
Yes, thank you. I was contacted by Terry Lean, L-E-E-N, and I'm not clear, possibly our acting city manager could explain his role, but he says, nobody has ever even contacted me, so I don't know what his role is. Will Devon, of course, has contacted me about veterans. I passed that on to Kathy King. So I don't know if we have contacted him. I certainly could forward that on to you, but I don't know what role he plays. I know that Kelso and I agreed that this is not the best place for it. I came to that conclusion, I think I had that awakening. Vice Mayor Barnett, we shook, and I'm ready to be part of the solution. So that's right. So I even put a Venn diagram, right? Is that what it's called? Venn diagram? SOS, Field of Dreams, in the middle, solution. Somewhere there has to be a solution. And I will say that as been offered, SOS has been through 10 properties. I've been requested to stop looking at empty lots and telling Kathy, that's a good place. Well, she explained to me, if there's not a for sale sign on it, stop calling me. So, I'm just saying. So that one suggestion is Terry Lean. And as I said, I'm sorry, I'm not clear about his authority, but I do agree that this is not the best place. But, and so does Kathy King and her organization and her volunteers. So my challenge is, for the Field of Dreams, hopefully once you all meet, is to give us a couple of volunteers who will work with us to look for a location. I actually spotted one. I shared that with Kelso Barnett. It's probably somebody who doesn't want to sell again, but anything that has paper over windows and nothing parked on it, I think it should be accessible. So that's where I am right now. And I know I sort of always put a fun spin on things, but I know this is important. I really know this is important, but I think we need people from the community to make an effort to volunteer along with us to look for property. Thanks.
Councilmember Agrimonti. Vice Mayor Barnett, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Ding. I wanted to thank staff for putting together that analysis of moving the building to 8th Street East to the Corporation Yard. You know, I thought that could be a good idea, and I'm obviously compelled by the analysis that it is not. And so I do appreciate that. My goal in bringing that up was just to start thinking of solutions and to, you know, Councilwoman Agrimonti's Venn diagram, that's all I care about. And I'm interested in the Vets building parking lot, but I don't think that's going to fix the issue either, in the sense that, you know, obviously the Haven is still across the street. And ultimately, I think we should probably direct all of our energies into finding those solutions and finding a new location. I know we've talked about this before, but I believe the county is working on a Sonoma Valley South County plan. And similar to our cultural presentation earlier, it would be really good if we had a high level holistic analysis and report for the future. I do want to say I recently met with Francisco talking about these issues, and I was very impressed with him. I'm very impressed with SOS. I probably don't say enough that I think they do very important work, and I'm grateful that they are in our community. When I talk about solution, I just think that this town, as Councilwoman Agrimonti said, we have so many good people in this town of goodwill, and I feel like together we can figure this out. And so I appreciate these updates, because it just continues the momentum to figure this out. Because once we keep talking about it, stop talking about it, in my view, it sort of falls by the wayside. And so, you know, I again appreciate the update. I want to continue working on this. And as I said at the last meeting, we still have to figure out exactly how our city staff can help facilitate and perhaps even take the lead. I believe, you know, even Judith Walsh on your board mentioned that last time, and I think we do need to do more. And so this is a process, but hopefully it will end up with a positive, you know, solution for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Felder, please.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate, I don't believe that the veterans parking lot is an ideal solution or a permanent solution, but we are now approaching in a month and a half the deadline to find some way to move the safe parking off of the lot next to the Field of Dreams. And I'm hoping that at least we can come up with a temporary solution that accomplishes that much, that still satisfies the basic needs that they need. And then we can continue to work on a more permanent solution. But if we continue to just put it off until we find the ideal solution somewhere, we're going to blow by April 1st very quickly and be in the same position where we're going to extend and extend and extend and never get anywhere. So I'm looking for the veterans as maybe a temporary solution to get us off the dime and to get us started on a path to success.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Felder. Any questions and comments? If not, I would like to open to public to listen more comments from our local community.
Mayor Ding, first we have Susanna Bond.
Hi, Susanna Bond, it's your turn.
Hi there. Good evening, Council. Thank you for taking my comments. I'm a volunteer with SOS. I weekly work at the Springs Community Hall serving our clients breakfast and lunch. I'm also a board member of SOS, and I am here to just add a few words to comments that have already been made by Kathy and Francisco, and also echo some of the written comments that were submitted by Fred Alabach that I believe you have in your packet. And I'm encouraged to hear that the council does not feel that moving the Haven and the safe parking program out to 8th Street East is a very good idea, because I do believe if that were the case, many of our clients would actually not use the services there and would be parking in town or in neighborhoods. So I think it's a good step to take that option off the table. I do think that we're headed in the right direction when we talk about finding a central location that can offer services from showers and laundry to food to sleeping. And it's going to be a struggle to find in this town the location that can be either purchased and rehabilitated in the correct location. But I'm grateful that that is one of the goals of the combined efforts of SOS and the City Council. So I hope that we have the forcefulness to keep moving in that direction. I just also wanted to make a quick point that occurred to me while I was listening to this meeting, and it was really wonderful to hear the conversation about culture and art and history and the wonderful environment the Valley has for businesses and tourists. But I wanted to just shine a light on the humans, the humanity that we're talking about when we speak of our safe parking and the services that the human beings who are most in need of them in this valley deserve to have. And it's just a safe place to sleep and to know where their next meal is coming from. They're things we don't think about daily, but are so central to people who are kind of living on the edge. So as we talk about the art and the culture and the history, let's also just not turn away from those.
That's time, Mayor Ding.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. That was my time.
Thank you so much, Susanna Baum. Next.
Next, we have Fred Alabach.
Hi, Mr. Alabach, it's your turn.
Thank you, Mayor Ding. Good evening again, members of the City Council and city staff. I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat. I'd just start out with saying that I don't believe that crime is an issue there at the SOS parking lot, but that's really the kind of pretext of why SOS has to be moved. But the crime rate there is not any more than it is anywhere else in town, and there's old incidents, one of which was not even somebody from SOS. So I think that the compatibility issue over crime is just really not there, and as Francisco said, you know, people are scared of strangers. I looked at the Google Earth or map of Sonoma, and I saw that the current location is relatively low density, and if you take a third of a mile radius from the corner of the plaza and look where are you going to put SOS in the central location, you're going to end up with way more compatibility issues from neighbors than you've got now. So you have a fact on the ground that I think should just stay where it is. And the land is too expensive to even do an SB9 unit. The land is, I don't see how the city is going to get land for this. And if you could find a lot for this, then I would suggest that you actually look for a 50-unit affordable housing project that can have SOS there on site as well, and really hit it out of the park here. Because if you can go to bat and find a lot like this, then you can go to bat and find a lot for a couple of 50-unit affordable housing projects too, that we've had housing crisis since 2008. Let's see here. Let me see, I'm working my way down my list here. So I would suggest that you extend the overnight parking MOU when the date comes up. I don't see how you could possibly vote to evict SOS in a month if you can't find a place. To me, that would just be really inhumane. I would suggest that you think about possibly repurposing the small baseball field. The city has 1 homeless service and 7 baseball fields. So I think that, and the population is getting older. So I think that it would be acceptable to repurpose one of those. And I would ask you also to adapt the use permit to allow a wraparound services on the existing site now. I'm not sure if I'm running out of time, but those are my basic points, and
That's time.
that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alabach.
Mayor Dean, next we have Claudia Robbins.
Hi, Claudia Robbins, it's your turn.
Thank you, Mayor Ding and council members. I want to echo Susanna Bond's comments. I'm very glad to hear that the public works area is likely off the table. It's for money, I understand, but I personally thought it was appalling to have to even consider putting some of our most vulnerable people who lack transportation out on 8th Street East and away from the services in the city. That it just meant, as other people have said, that people would not take advantage of services. They would get more lost than they are already. I think that sometimes people, and Fred has made, and Susanna also spoke about humanity, to consider humanity. I think that that's partly what people have forgotten sometimes and are saying, why don't those people go elsewhere? And I've heard those statements. We don't want those people in our town. And knowing a family who is about to be displaced and who is about to become homeless with children or unsheltered with children, I can say that I think that we have a lot to do to help people who are homeless in our community. And so I appreciate that the City Council will continue to look for an appropriate place to work with Kathy King, to work with Francisco. And I'm the voice of other people who don't often speak up loudly at public meetings. As has happened, there's a huge outpouring of people from the Field of Dreams who did not want people who were homeless in their area. But there are many of us who think we need to keep a central place for people who are unsheltered and central services. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia Robbins. Appreciate it.
Couple more seconds to see if anyone else raises their hands.
Okay, yeah, we can wait.
Doesn't appear that they are, Mayor Dean.
Okay. All right, let me close the public comments. Any further discussion and comments? Right now it's time. Vice Mayor Barnett, please.
Thank you, Mayor Ding. I actually liked what Fred Alabach had to say regarding perhaps developing a affordable housing site and perhaps also incorporating SOS. Obviously, this is a way down the road, but I think it's a good vision, or I think it has merit, and I think it's worthy of exploring. So maybe this question is for probably David. We obviously have an affordable housing trust fund, thanks to a former council and also Councilwoman Agrimonti. I believe 1% of our TOT funds the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and clearly that is designed for affordable housing. Would homeless services also fall under that purview, and could that be a fund we could access for sort of developing, this South Valley sort of homeless service 2.0?
I'm going to jump in there.
Okay.
I know. I've looked at the when the housing trust fund was set up. It doesn't particularly talk about homelessness as it's more housing needs. And so we could, I mean, if you want, I can send you what was approved when that was set up. And so you can take a look at it. I think we've looked at that before, and it doesn't really fall under that particular fund. So but we could, you know, it could be, and we could also run it by the attorney too. So.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Good question.
No question.
Yeah, we try find any possibilities. Resource, not only the money, resources.
Right. So may I ask a question, Mr.
Sure.
Mayor? I think an ad hoc committee who is meeting. I don't know. You need to know who it is, but I think meeting with the Field of Dreams people. I believe a couple of years ago there were a couple of members from the Field of Dreams that said that they would help looking for a location. So I'd sort of like to bring that issue up again. And Vice Mayor Barnett, I really appreciate your bringing up the issue of the South County plan. In fact, the mayor and I are going to be meeting with Susan Gorin to discuss that very thing. And we're so fortunate that COTS in Petaluma has said they want to partner with us because the North County has a plan and now we can have something as well. And there's another gentleman, Andrew Henning, who was overseeing homeless in Fairfax, to be exact, no, San Rafael, which had a very serious problem. And now he is consulting, got into private business. He'll be consulting with the city of Petaluma and is working with them on their homeless issues. So it might behoove us to piggyback on what they're doing and be able to possibly share information, maybe possibly have a way for Mr. Henning to join us. I think BJ Bischoff may be involved in this as well, but I know that Andrew Henning is very, very informed on homelessness, and it would be great to see what their plan is in Petaluma. And so those are just my two suggestions. I'd like to talk to everyone after we meet, and then of course Field of Dreams, if they would, or if anyone is out there listening, we really need your help to look for these spaces. I'm annoying everybody when I see an empty lot. I think this is perfect. So I'm sorry, and I appreciate Kelso. You know, you and I agree. And we agree, you know, the middle of our Venn diagram is resolution. And I really believe it's there.
Thank you, Councilmember Agrimonti, and thank you, Vice Mayor Barnett. Yeah, I always know if we got more information, I get more educated, you know, the way to understand the situation, we can find more common grounds. That's the reason why I'm so happy and work everyone. And this is difficult. It's not an easy thing. And we are in a small town. Our town didn't invest a lot of the money on the homeless, to be honest. And what do we invest? We invest in our compassion, community and energy, community and generosity. You know, that is more important than the money. Now, basically, I'm the number person. You know, I want to tell you what a number it is. For example, I'm in the city, invested to the SOS around $30,000. Our population is 11,000. So basically, each residents in the Sonoma city contribute $2.70, just the money, of course. And the city, the property is a haven, provided to SOS for free use. That is also is wonderful. But right now, I just say the money. We look at San Francisco, 2011 and 2021 and 2022. They have the budget 1.5 billion. Based on the residents, they have the residents number is 870,000. So each resident made a contribution $850 to the homeless project, compared to out in the city, $2.70. So, sometimes we cannot use this kind of number, making a straight comparison, but at least tell you something. Out in the homeless population didn't use a lot of resource from the out in the city's money, number one. And also from another side, they live here, they work here, they spend the money here, also they pay the taxes. So that sometimes we needed to figure out, they are in the bad time during the lifetime. Sometimes we can help him a little bit and then, help them turn over a new page of their life. So that is a different way in out in Sonoma. So again, I want to appreciate it. And also last time, I so much appreciate, and the lady, her last name is Slaujun, or volunteer, when I help SOS finding the good locations. That is how, encouraging the people. Yeah, I'm very, very, moved for they now. But definitely we need to work hard. We work hard and find a resolution. And also we are not only using the emotional, we're using scientific. For example, why? And we cannot move to the 8th Street East. Okay, we did a feasibility study. We have the numbers. So in this way, we want to feel more comfortable. So that is my, the thoughts. So that today, I don't think we have any, the motion to prove, because we are still waiting for, and the extension. Maybe in the next meeting, we want to do something. Yeah. More comments and questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. If there are no any further question, and also we don't have any motion, we will move forward. Okay. Agenda number 7, council members' report and comments. If anyone want to?
Mr. Mayor, if I may interrupt, don't we have to do something about agenda 6.2?
6.2, we will move it to the next time, because already changed the schedule when we started the meeting, and when we approved that agenda, we already
took it out.
Susan Casey request we continue 6.2 to our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a report if you'd like.
All right.
I am on North Bay Watershed Association, which I absolutely love. And they they had a wonderful report on Highway 37, which I think is great. I will not be alive when that opens. But I want to say, for anyone that comes behind me, you are going to enjoy this, because obviously we're having a rising bay, and there are a lot of issues that really stop our economy if those things actually happen. I think the hint should have been about 4 or 5 years ago when the sea lion tried to make it across 37. That was a clue of what's going on. So I want to tell you that I understand that the infrastructure money is going to go to Highway 37. And the final plans I'm not aware of, but I will tell you that North Bay Watershed Association, anything that's below it, they will beautify and make it a wonderful place to visit. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Agrimonti. Councilmember Lowe.
Yes, I was able to participate with the Sonoma County Transportation Authority, and I'd like to bring back some of the things that were presented at that meeting at a subsequent meeting. I think that there were a lot of important slides and statistics that that this council and the city really needs to look at. They they did a heat map of accidents and safety concerns, which I think, you know, in our discussions of Broadway, some of that came up, but there were some amazing statistics and some strategies that, you know, that they are recommending. But the report was very intense and long, and certainly I can't condense it in this brief report, but I'd like to share it with our acting city manager and some staff and see if they would like to somehow make it available to the whole council, because there's a lot of very important information in that.
That's great. Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. I don't have any reports. Maybe next time I will report something. If not, let's move on.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I have a comment I'd like to make.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I want to affirm my support of Vice Mayor Barnett. I accept his heartfelt apology for his action of last night, and I trust his commitment to move forward from this event and to continue to serve the Sonoma community with his demonstrated dedication and talent. We need Kelso to participate in the challenging time we face in Sonoma. And I look forward to working with Kelso and the rest of this council to make Sonoma a better place. So I hope we can move forward from this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Felder. I want to make a reminder statement for the Council Barnett. I fully support you. Our community needs you, and also your co-worker in City Council work very closely and also support you, and we can work together, move forward. Thank you.
And I would likewise like to comment. I think that for all the reasons our Vice Mayor shared his thoughts, he understands the severity of the issue, and he's very clear about that. And his apologies. I think that was that's wonderful. And as Councilmember Felder said, we'll just move forward, and I'm sure that Kelso will be going through the process, and I support him.
Thank you.
And I'll just associate myself with everyone's remarks. Well said, everyone.
Wonderful. So that is sometimes I'm a little bit moved. When we discuss any issue, our council member always support each other. That is the reason why we can work so close, so yeah, as a team, so strong. I very much appreciate. If I'm missing something, and then
well, do we have future agenda items?
That is, yes. Agenda number 7.1, that is the community reports. Yeah, we do this one.
Yeah.
7.1, committee reports already did.
Mm-hmm.
And updates from the council members to share this time. Listen, a list of the all appointments is available. Oh, okay. That is, yeah, nothing special. So the all and our committees and appointments are already available. You can get access on our website. Okay, let's move on. Another agenda number 8, city manager comments and announcements. 8.1, future agenda items. So Casey, yes.
Oh, no announcements right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra?
I have a couple of future agenda items I'd like to recommend, if possible. Mayor Dink?
Yes, sure.
Is this good? Okay. First of all, I would like to see agendized a discussion to update the expedited permit process for electric vehicle charging stations. I have the documentation for that, and Mr. Ruderman is nodding his head. He knows what I'm talking about on that. And the other thing is the comments that earlier that were brought up regarding flavored tobacco, I think we should look at our policy and expand it to include menthol cigarettes as well. And there's no reason not to. And then considering that the referendum on flavored tobacco has qualified for the ballot, actually will be on the ballot, and I think we should take an opinion. I'd like to see us take an opinion on the referenda on flavored tobacco. So those are my three agenda items. Thank you.
Thank you. Good item.
And if you need a second council member to support those, I support all of those.
Thank you, Mr.
That's great. Yeah, also I support. Yeah.
Before the adjournment, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, before the adjournment, I'll wait my turn, but I just wanted to remind everyone who I dedicated this evening to, and I can wait after city attorney's comments.
And okay, and any more? If they're not, I do have a possible agenda in the future, maybe in the next meeting or in the April. That is the I have the the project proposed that is a free Wi-Fi service. Now we already mentioned about almost 1 year, and we have connections. We have the consulting companies. We have technologists. Hopefully, in the next month we will get together, ask them to do a presentation, how to set up the community, especially in the downtown plaza, and also never forget the Springs area. These are the two experts that is countrywide experts, very famous. They did a lot of the successful and the spots in the East Bay and also in Peninsula. Yeah, so they are ready to help us. Maybe later on, I would get together with Sue Casey and see how we can move forward, or maybe we can invite them to give us some presentation. Really let it start.
Great.
Yeah. So any more items? No. All right. Okay. Next, agenda number 9, city attorney comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report this evening.
All right. And then agenda number 10, adjournment. Anybody?
I wanted to mention the people I dedicated. So I dedicated.
Say, right? You have something to say. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, council member.
I dedicated this evening to Len Tillum, our country lawyer.
Yes.
Or you would say lawyer. And Phyllis Gurney, the original influencer here in Sonoma and the Valley. We dedicated the meeting to both of these people, and I'll forward the information on how to send the letter to the family.
Thank you so much. And also, Council Member Agrimonti mentioned a very important thing. So now if we dedicate to somebody, don't forget, send an address, physical address for the family. And for sure, we will send over out in the form of the paperwork.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. All right, so it's time for us to close the meeting. I will say we adjourn the meeting. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good night.